Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time we take a look at the 1995 Nissan 180 SX Type X. This is our first 180 SX to take on the course. There's 4 of them in this game, and fortunately these cars are easy to figure out in this version of the game, unlike in the PAL region, where for whatever reason this gets called a 96 model year, which then means there are 2 1996 Nissan 180 SX Type X's. In case you're wondering what the difference between them is, the 96 has a body kit, and this one does not have a body kit. This one is, well, the Ryan Cooper spec, if you will, even though that was a 240 SX, which is a different car and not very good. 180 SXs are basically S13s, but in this sort of sleeker fastback body shell. I'm not a huge fan, I will be honest. I prefer a normal S13, but there you go. Interestingly enough, there was also a modified version of this that people did called a Salati, where they stuck a Silvia S13 front end on it for some reason, which I think is the wrong way around. It should be sticking an S13 rear end on this to make it look better, but there you go. And that actually caught on to the point where Nissan did their own version of that, which is also in this game, and we'll see that later, the 1988 Nissan Salati. Anyways, this, the 180 SX, front engine rear wheel drive, 373 horsepower, 1,113 kilos. I am not expecting anything out of this, really, I'll be honest. They're not particularly good cars around here, but anyways, it is going to get 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Toyota Celica rally car, set at a time of a 27.552. This car is unlikely to beat that. In terms of where this car should be, somewhere in the 31s, I would suspect. The Silvia K's 1800cc, I think, set a 31.973. So if this can beat that, that seems like that would be a pretty decent task. I'm not 100% sure, so I'll say this with not a lot of confidence. But I think the 1800cc in the Silvia is pretty similar to the engine out of this. So, yeah, there's 1.8 litre turbocharged engine. These did exist in Europe as well. I can't remember if they were 180 SXs in Europe. I think they may have been. And then obviously, if you live in America, you'll know this as the 240 SX, which famously had the truck engine in it. that 2.4 litre 4-pot that everyone thinks is amazing, but let's be honest, it isn't. It's a 2.4 litre 4-pot that produces 135 horsepower. It's basically an economy car engine. But anyways, yeah, this is the full true-blooded 180 SX. As you can see by the texture on the rear light, you can actually see it says 180 SX. I'll have to play the North American version and see if they've changed that to 240. I highly doubt they did. But I mean, technically I have a North American copy of this game because Gran Turismo 2 Project A spec is region locked currently. So the North American version, I hope they do a PAL at some point. Just because it'd be better on me, but that's me probably being a bit selfish. I'll speak to the guys about that. I doubt it's going to happen, but I'll speak to them. Anyways, yeah, of course, Ryan Cooper's car, this one. There's not a lot to say about the way it drives. It's very drifty. It's very Silvia. It's not too, like, terribly quick. I will tell a story about this. I was actually planning on using this car in an earlier episode, and I started driving it, and it felt atrocious, and I went back into career mode and realised this was actually... Usually I do joke about it and say, oh, I wonder if I put racing suspension on it, because this feels very wonky, and usually, well, if you see the video, I have, but in this case I actually hadn't put racing suspension on it, so yeah, I had to go and rectify that, because this car... Do not drive this car fully upgraded without the racing suspension, because my god is it terrible. To the line, 31.240, wow. That ain't half bad, you know, actually. I was throwing shade on this, but for a rear-wheel drive, that's not bad. It's quicker than a bunch of cars, actually, that are comparable to this. That's solid, actually. Really solid. Yeah, and also apparently none of the quickest sectors were in the quickest lap. Admittedly, it's not by much. I don't think there's much more to come out of that. I will be honest, that does seem like it's a bit of a dead end, tuning-wise. Oh, I also forgot to point out, this is the only 180SX that's not going to run racing modification. The racing modification on this car is A, atrocious, and B, the 96 car has the exact same racing mod, so that one's going to run it. And the other 180SX, the Type S, is also going to have racing mod, according to this, for some reason. Anyways, yeah, 31.240 places this into 143rd place. Goes in between the Alfa Romeo 166 2.5 V6 and the Nissan Primera. It is quicker than the Nissan Silvia Q's S14, so it's quicker than the car that ended up taking over from this one. Quicker than the RX-7 with the 4-speed automatic. It's quicker than the Tom Supra. It is 0.2 up the road from the Corolla Levin, which is probably the closest thing to this that I can think of. Yeah, that's a really good car, actually, to be honest with you. Like, in terms of lap time, that's really good. I say it's really good. It's pretty, like, mid-pack for this series, but, you know, that could be a lot worse. I'm trying to think of stuff that's, like, looking up the leaderboard. The GTS 25 Type S R32 31.005. It's not quite that level of good, but, yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised, actually. I thought that car was going to be an absolute chore to drive, and it wasn't too bad. So, there you go, Ryan Cooper. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I'll be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.